Hi guys and girls, welcome to Kentucky. This is the Budapest Speed Shop. My buddies named my one car garage to the Budapest Speed Shop because I'm from Hungary and I was always fixing some weird stuff there. So today we're gonna work on a Corvair van. It's a pretty unusual sight nowadays. And I have a bunch of East German vans which they have two-stroke engines and two-stroke three-cylinder engines, and they're very similar in size to the American counterpart, but this car is actually air-cooled. It's an air-cooled six-cylinder Chevrolet. So I want to take you guys through how I'm going to bring it back to life. This car was sitting in a garage approximately 25 to 30 years somewhere, and then my buddy Ricky got it out of there, and then now here comes Ricky bringing it home for me, and then we're going to get onto it, and then we're going to try to make it live again. So come with me for that journey. This is part one. There will be several more parts following this one where we're going to try to bring it back to life. If you look at the rear suspension, this is why this van is, and then maybe the Corvair is also dangerous, because look at this angle, what it shows after jumping up and down in the trailer. That's why some of them flipped over. That's why they prone to flip over, I guess. It's not as stable as the East German counterpart of my Barkas B1000.
Time to go drink beer.
Well, we finally got it home. I'm really super excited to see this van. I really like it. It's got the bench seat in the front, at the front, and then it's got this nice color, like beige steering wheel, a little dirty, but I'll clean it up. And then yeah, everything is in there. Pretty cool. On the back, yeah, that's the gas tank. Actually needed a gas tank to run it because the original gas tank is dirty and bad. I gotta have to take it out. And there are some extra parts in it. Came with a door, so I can fix that door, but moved backwards. Got the original color inside. It looks like I'm gonna need to find a door handle for the side, but it's all good. I love it. I'm gonna have to fix the brakes on it and all kind of things, but that doesn't matter. I'm gonna fix the damn thing, I'm sure. So here's the Barkas next to it. Okay, this is a two-stroke, two-cylinder air-cooled, water-cooled. So it's a three-cylinder, two-stroke water-cooled engine in that Barkas, and it's up on the front, so it's a front-wheel drive. At the other hand, in the Chevy, this is a rear-wheel drive with the engine is on the back. And here's the air intake for the engine on the side here. And the reason they put that in here, because there is a high pressure area as the air goes around. Actually, there become a high pressure area here, and that's where air actually pushes in and preloads that turbine what's on the top of the engine. I opened the back part of it, and you can see the nice 6-cylinder engine, and it's air cooled. You can see the air turbine and the funky looking belt and the dual carburetors. It's not because some high performance model, but just because it's flat 6, that's why. So I'm gonna put this cover back on and we're gonna put it on the rack. It's really good looking that on the side this door handle is just like you want to open it, but it's actually going down. So that's how you move the handle. So this basically is almost the same handle as this one, where you can push the button, but this one is actually moves down in order to open the door. Love it. It's very interesting that you can actually roll the windows down on these doors. So there's the other one, and then there's the mechanism. You can see there's a bezel missing from here. I'm pretty sure it's over there, so I get it. And then just need to find a door handle or a crank handle for it, and then I can crank the windows down. That's pretty exciting, and it's original color inside. Super cool. This was not an easy thing to back up onto this rack here, because there's no side mirror on the right side. It's just like my 240D on a Mercedes. Didn't come with it, and this one is fairly small, so I'm kind of thinking I need to find some sort of mirror what would be a little bit larger, or another mirror what goes to the right side. I don't know if it's original or not. We'll have to investigate that, but let's just lift it up and see what's underneath. This is the first time I see this vehicle from underneath. Wow, looks very similar to that East German version. The way it's situated looks like I got some leak on the steering gearbox, but looks very nicely done. Everything is together. Hope there is a leak from the front cylinder for sure, and a lot of leak from this side. No problem, we'll fix it. This looks like the fuel tank over here, so I'm gonna have to take that tank off. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be able to somehow, and I'm gonna have to clean it out. Oh, that's not too hard. Ricky was saying that it's really hard, but I don't think so. And just 2 screws, and I got to take that shifter linkage off. But if you look around, this van's usually rotten to dust, and I can see why. Because the moisture and snow and all this stuff accumulates there, and then it's gonna create rust. But this thing actually survived. Look at that. I can't believe it. There is basically just surface rust on it. There is a little bit, but that's very minimal. Man, I caught it the last minute, I'm pretty sure. So there's all kind of things here. The drive shaft here, and there's the suspension. Looks like the bushings are gone, but I'll change that. Looks like there's a leak in it too. It looks like a fuel leak, some sort. Sorry, not fuel leak. Brake fluid leak. Said the wrong word here. And then here's the engine. So if we go around, very interesting to see this. And there is the back part that opens up. These are the one when some sort of thermostat in it what opens these up. I know just about nothing about these engines, so I'll have to learn as I go. Here's the exhaust and the back part of it. I don't see any real rust issues. I mean, it would be nice to take everything off and just clean everything up and paint it nicely. It shouldn't be too hard to do. Very exciting to see this. Unfortunately, it's finally snowed last night, and it's freaking freezing here. So yeah, we'll hopefully it's gonna warm up from the sun, and then I'm gonna have an easier time working in the garage. First thing I'm gonna do is move this dinosaur out of the way, and then we're gonna move the nice little petite 107 out, and then we can get access to the Corvair. And meanwhile, the two Heelys are in their winter hibernation. Yeah, it would be really cool to drive those right now. So I want to run through the project here. So here are all the parts I got. We got a master cylinder from Rock Auto. I'm gonna probably paint this. And then we got these door handles what were missing from the back. They were very inexpensive. And then I got these from eBay that they're really bad quality, but I have no other options right now. But maybe I find some, I put it on, because this part is not moving at all. So it was a little loose. Now it's tight and loose, tight and loose. I don't know. Then there's the shifter shaft seal, but all of them will go bad, because I think if you would put a rubber cover over the shaft, then it wouldn't get dirty, and then the dirt will not go in and eat this seal up. I think that's why it goes bad. Maybe we can find or make up a makeshift bush, like a little cover for that shaft, so it wouldn't eat up the bearings or the seals all the time. So I think the shaft will collect, because it's oily a little bit, collects the little rocks what picks up from the ground, and then it goes in and out of this seal, and that's probably what eats up the seal. Okay, so we got front wheel cylinders, the rear wheel cylinders, and then all the rubber brake lines. We also have metal brake lines, which we're gonna attempt to do double flarings. It shouldn't be too hard. I got the tool for it. And then I got all the springs. I got a spring kit that was very inexpensive, and I got one of these things. The only part that was not made in China, it was made in Mexico. And this one is the starter solenoid. And just to make sure we're gonna have a license plate on it, I custom made this one. I had someone made it for me, so it's gonna be a 63 Corvair, to make sure everybody can see what it is when it's coming at you. First thing we're gonna start with is gonna remove the battery cable to make sure we don't have any kind of sparks flying when I'm gonna change this starter solenoid when I get to it. And then we're gonna let the oil down from the car. So the battery is located in the back under a hatch on the driver's side. Gasket next to the battery. Perfect. Well, that was pretty easy. Came right off. I'm really surprised that there's no rust on this car, like real deep rust, because every one of these are rotten to dust. I really like the condition of this car. Well, I'm gonna take this battery out anyway, and then I'm gonna charge it. I'm gonna remove this gas can, because we're not gonna need it anymore, because I'm gonna have a good battery for it. And then we go from there. Well, here's the engine. I still haven't been able to find the oil filter on it, but I ordered one at Napa, and then see with that filter in hand, maybe I can find it. And I also just ordered a shop manual, so the shop manual will show me. I'm not totally convinced that it actually has an oil filter, but it should have one, but we'll find it. As it turns out, this van actually has a hood. The hood to access the engine is right here. I got to move this, open it up, and there is the oil filter right there, so I'm gonna able to change that. And then looks like here's the that piece. So Ricky told me is that's how you can tell if it's a truck engine or like a van engine or a car engine, that this oil pipe is actually straight up or to the side. So if it comes to the back, that means it was a truck engine. For some reason they call this a truck, but it really is a van. The first thing I'm gonna start with is I'm gonna let the oil down, because I like to change the gaskets. So the valve cover gaskets were leaking a little bit, and then the oil pan gasket is leaking a little bit, so I ordered it from Riley's. And I want to clean off this lower pan to make sure that oil will stay clean. I don't know what condition the bottom of the oil pan is, so usually in old cars, but sitting for a long time, there's a bunch of residue. So here's the bolt what I got to unscrew, and then I'm gonna leave it here for probably a good week to let it drain. So we're gonna have time to drain itself out. Now that the oil is flowing, we can start getting into other things. That oil doesn't look all that clean, so I don't know if Ricky changed that. I hope he did, but maybe he didn't. So anyhow, This is why when I get a car, I always go through things. So while this one is leaking out, I think I can take this big long shifting rod. I don't even know if I can show it. Yeah, this long shifting rod off. It goes all the way up here, goes through here, and somehow ends up there. So yeah, we gotta remove this one way or another to able to get this tank off. Well, at first I took this cotter pin out, and then I removed this linkage. So the linkage is hanging up in the air. And now I drilled a hole into the old seal, and I screwed a screw in it. So now I'm just gonna get a plier and take the seal out. Before we really start pulling any seals out, I want to make sure that the new seal is ready for installation. So I put a little bit of grease on it, so make sure it will slide and will not burn. I also have one of these socket here, which is gonna have the exact same size as this one, a little bit smaller than the out housing is. So once I actually ready to put it back in, I'm gonna have something to, if I would show you, I would have something to drive it in with. And I want to make sure that I'm gonna be ready with the oil, so it's probably gonna start leaking out as soon as I take out this old seal. So I'm gonna pull this one closer. It's like barely dripping anymore anyway, so if it starts leaking out, I got something to catch the oil with. Well, I don't know what this one was, but it was not a seal for sure, or it was some sort of seal, but not in the traditional sense. But it finally looks like it's coming out. So yeah, but now it's gonna have a real seal in it. I guess that was the original one. I don't know what it was, but it's kind of melted away. Well, I screwed this one up. I started to hit in, and then it was just not going, so it's kind of bent. I gotta buy another seal. It is what it is. That's how you learn. Well, looks like I found a seal at Napa. So while I'm waiting for it, it's gonna be here tomorrow morning. While I'm waiting for it, I'm gonna remove this long shifting rod because I need to get to the fuel tank. Also, in order to change the front brake lines, I need to get the fuel tank out of the way because they're right in that little crack there up there. So I'm gonna have to access that somehow. So I think next thing I'm gonna remove the tank. And I also noticed that here's this big rusted pipe that sucks the fuel up. So I think I'm gonna just change that pipe as well. It's not all that long, not all that hard to change. So I'm just gonna come up with another probably aluminum pipe, and then I'm gonna bend it to position. I'm gonna change that as well when I take the tank off. And I kind of thinking I'm probably gonna buy another tank, because you can buy a tank for like 180 bucks. So probably that would be the best idea. And then I'm gonna have some more reliable transportation here, because I don't know what's in this tank actually. Well, I got a seal in from Napa, and I totally smashed it again. So I haven't seen such a thing before, but this hole inside is not oval, so I need to make this hole oval before I start putting another one in. So I ordered 2 more seals from O'Reilly's this time, because Napa ran out of them. So I'm gonna have to somehow make this hole like totally round. That's why these seals are not going in. So while I'm gonna wait for those seals to come in, and I guess it's 2 more days, I'm gonna have my son help me, and we're gonna take this tank off. So at first I'm gonna clean off these bolts, and then trying to unscrew them, and then get this whole tank down and try to get it out of the way. We have unscrewed these nuts, what's holding it, but in order not to fall it on our head, I actually supported it with this 2x4. So it looks like it's leaking a little bit over here. I don't know where is it leaking from, or I'm not sure what that is, but maybe it's not a leak. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's some oil. Looks a little sticky. So yeah, it might be a leak. But anyhow, we're gonna start letting it lower it a little bit, and then hopefully we can get it out. I don't know how heavy it is, because it might be full of gas, so we're not sure. I already cut the feed line. It's over here, because we're gonna change that anyway. And there's one more electric connector on the top, most likely what's gonna, for the fuel sending unit. So that has to be disconnected as it's coming down. Well, it started to come out. It's really stinky. I can smell the bad gas, and I just remembered what I didn't do. I didn't disconnect the intake hose. And the intake hose needs to be disconnected where the gas comes in when you pump the gas in it, and it's on the side. So I'm gonna have to put it back up and do that. Also, there's 2 wires. One wire is actually ends up being here, and that's the grounding wire, and the ground wire has to come out. This one, if I can show it to you. And then the other one is actually hanging out there. That's for the fuel sending unit. It's somewhere up there, so I haven't been able to find that, but we need to push it back up and then remove that hose what goes to the tank from the filling. I don't know why I forgot it, but it is what it is. I guess we're supposed to start with this. So we got the wheel off. You're gonna have to get it off anyway for the brake job. And there are 2 hoses here, the big one and the small one. So looks like the big one is already off, and there's a lot of dirt in it. And then the little one is off now, and we only have one more thing, is that electrical connector. So we got to work the whole thing down a little bit and then get the electrical connector off. Then the whole thing should come off. Then I'm gonna have to take this whole assembly off as well and then clean it out. Well, it came out pretty easy. So this little the sending unit connector came right off, so you can just got to move it a little bit and pull it off. It comes off very easily. And then here's the tank down there. But after seeing what's in it, I don't know if I can wash it out, and it was leaking all over the place. So it's a lot of stuff in it. So I think I'm just gonna forfeit. We're gonna use this van a lot, so I'm just gonna buy a new tank for it. There's no way around it. And here's the sending unit. I think I'm gonna get a sending unit as well, and then just make it all new again. That's an important part of a car. So, well, now I'm gonna have to order some parts, go back to work for a while, and then we continue on when I'm back. I got this 1963 Corvair van just about 4 or 5 months ago already, and I just so busy with work. I just couldn't get to it. So finally, I got a break. I have finally got one day when I don't have to do anything else. Well, actually half of the day is gone already because I had to do all kind of other stuff at the farm. But where I stopped last time is that fuel delivery pipe. If I can move it down enough. Here's this fuel delivery pipe, and it's got a hanger on it, and that hanger screw is actually, ooh, no, it's almost fall. No, it didn't fall. All right, cool. So that bolt broke in it. If you see it here. So I was trying to put a new thread in it. I drilled out the old bolt, and I was putting the new thread in it, and that's when I got called into work, and then that was 5 months ago. So I'm gonna finish that, but while my camera was charging, I went into the back and I did a really important part, the shift shaft seal. So this shift shaft seal was really hard to work with because I was trying to put in like at least 4 seals by the time I figured out that the outer diameter of that was a little bit squished. So somebody put something here and then squished it, and then the whole cast iron actually collapsed. And this was eating up the seals. So finally what I did, I hit one of these sockets in and then moved it around, and then I was able to make the hole round again so it wouldn't have a flat spot on the top. And then finally this seal actually went in. So I'm really super excited that that seal went in. And then I was working ahead before I had this camera in my hand, took out the bolts for the lower pan, and then I just left it here. So by the time I came back, it was on the ground. I wanted to take a video of it as I was taking it off, but well, now it's off. So I really wanted to take it off to clean off the surface. So make sure when I put the new oil in it, it's gonna be nice and clean. So next thing I gotta do is to clean up this mess and then put it back on. After that, I'm gonna take off the valve covers and change the valve cover gaskets just to make sure they're all nice and new. And then we can start concentrating on the brake system. This is why I pulled off this part, so I can clean this up very nicely. As you can see, there's all kind of old debris on it. I took this inside the house and then I used some warm water and washed it all up. It looks a lot better than before. The only problem is I have these bolt holes actually moved up a little bit, so I'm gonna need to take it to my anvil and then hit this back down to make sure they're absolutely flat so they wouldn't break the gasket when I put it on. It's a really bad design. Look at the oil. You can't let the oil down, so the oil gonna end up being here, and you're not gonna able to let it down. So there's always some dirt and some sort of junk will remain. So this was the main reason why I took this off. Well, I put the Mercedes out so I don't spray on it, but I clean it up to my likings, and then clean it off with some rubbing alcohol, and I'm gonna spray paint it black and then put it away because I got called into work again. So this project gonna stay the way it is at least for another 4 days. Dang it. It took a long time, but finally I cleaned up this lower pan. I somewhat painted it, and then I painted this oil drain plug yellow, and it actually says FC on it. So interesting. That's the van part of the Corvair line. Then I'm gonna have the gasket here. I'm gonna put it together with a little silicone, the Mopar RTV silicone, because that works really well, and then it's not gonna leak anymore. I also cleaned the surface over here, and hoping that it's gonna be enough. It's aluminum. I really didn't want it to hurt it too bad, so it's all cleaned up and ready for the gasket. Also, I removed the valve cover gaskets, so you can see it here. And then it only was really interesting. There was the middle bolt. That middle bolt hole was not used. Only the 4 in the corners. So anyhow, I'm gonna change that too because there was some visible leak on it. So it's raining outside all day, so I can't spray these, and I'm gonna go back for work, and I just can't wait for that. So I'm just gonna put these valve covers back the way they are. I'm gonna clean up the surface, change the gaskets, and put them back on. I don't have time for painting. The whole car is not getting restored anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's just I want to make it workable and clean inside. That's the goal. It's very interesting that this valve cover was put on with 4 bolts only, and here's the position for the middle bolt, but it's missing. There's no hole on it. Transmission has the gasket has a hole on it, but there's no hole. So this new gasket has everything there, but no hole either. So I guess it is what it is. I put this RTV silicone on. I believe this is the best silicone money can buy right now, like for engines. That Mopar RTV. There are 2 versions of it, one for the transmission, one for this actually. And yeah, I really like it. I hope it's not sacrilegious to put a GM together with a Mopar seal. Now that's it. Don't forget that this thing is actually sitting in oil all the time because the oil level is basically up here. So it's not like a regular car where it's basically splashed oil coming here. It's actually constantly sitting in oil. Well, provided that it has some oil in it. This is the corner of the engine, and there is the dipstick actually sticking into the oil part. So yeah, this thing is actually sitting in oil all the time. The tightening down sequence is not all that crucial, but what I did, at first I hand inserted the bolts. So basically hand tied the bolts, all of them around. And once all the bolts were in, I started up here, 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 and then went from here to there. And then in several different sequences, I tightened them up, but not too much because you can break the seal. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clean up this surface here where the valve cover goes. And then we're gonna clean up the valve cover a little bit as well. Since the humidity, because it's raining all day, the painting is out of question. So the outside gonna remain the way it is. I don't really care too much. And then the inside, I cleaned up the edges and just kind of got it clean a little bit. So now I'm gonna put the same kind of silicone on it, inside and out, and then put it back on. You guys may don't agree with that it needs silicone, but I'm doing this for like, I don't know, almost 30 years now, and it works. It will keep the oil in. These are the valve cover attachments. I would say this is the valve cover bolt. So when you tie it down, there is a little space in between which you can push with the bolt, so you got to be careful not to over tighten it. So that's another stipulation. It's very interesting to me. That's the first time I see that. Well, that's it for today, and then we'll try again 2 weeks from now. Bye.